2022. The purpose of this hearing is to provide an opportunity for interested parties to discuss the proposed plan. The deadline to file disputes is 5 p.m. today in the city clerk's office. You need not speak, however. If you wish to do so, you may. We have individuals requesting to speak. When I call your name, please be sure to unmute your microphone, state your name, classification, and your department. If you are representing a group of employees, please also identify the group you are representing. I also ask that each speaker limit their presentation to 5 minutes. Alrighty, Mr. Clerk, we do have a list of individuals wishing to speak. We will start with Karen Wilkin.
Here she goes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ms. Wilkin.
Okay. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Karen Wilkin. I'm the Quality Assurance Coordinator at the Tucson Police Department Crime Laboratory. I've been with the city for almost 21 years. I appreciate the effort that the city manager, the Human Resources Department, and the mayor and council have gone through to try and evaluate all of our positions fairly. There are 6 coordinator level positions at the crime lab, all at the 817 pay grade, and all currently being paid the same. This compensation plan causes huge inequities among the crime laboratory coordinators by now adjusting the pay of all but one coordinator, me, the quality assurance coordinator. It's my opinion that these kinds of inequities are detrimental for continuing to work together in the same building as a team, but all being compensated differently under the same pay scale, performing the work which up until a year ago was assigned to the same classification. The Quality Assurance Coordinator position is a newly created classification, having been in existence for only a year and having originated from the Crime Laboratory Coordinator classification. I agree that the crime laboratory coordinators are not paid accordingly when compared to their peers in other jurisdictions. There is currently only a 5% pay difference between the 817 pay grade of coordinator and the 816 pay grade of Criminalist 3. With this compensation plan, the quality assurance coordinator will still only be at a 5% above the Criminalist 3 pay grade of 816. After receiving the 2% adjustment, the DNA technical leader at the same pay grade, 817 as myself, will be at 11.7 higher, and the crime laboratory coordinators will be at 8.1% higher than their peer, which is me, the quality assurance coordinator. If this compensation plan goes into effect, all crime laboratory coordinators will then be paid different amounts to do the same coordinator level work at the same 817 pay grade. This will cause inequities amongst the coordinators in a way that values the work of one coordinator over another. If the City of Tucson does not see that the work being performed by all crime laboratory coordinators is not equal, then why are we not at different pay grades? This compensation plan was designed to look at each job and compare it to equal jobs at other agencies. In the case of comparing our crime laboratory to other crime laboratories used to create this compensation plan, it would only be the Mesa Crime Laboratory, which pays their quality assurance coordinator, also referred to as a quality assurance manager, the same pay grade as the rest of the laboratory coordinators. When you review the organizational chart that I submitted with my dispute form, you will see that I am listed above the other coordinator level positions. Should I then be paid less than them? I'm requesting that the quality assurance coordinator position be reviewed with the crime laboratory coordinator and DNA technical leader positions and considered for an adjustment in pay at the same level as them. We all have responsibilities as coordinators that were deemed to be appropriate to be housed under the same 817 pay grade. This study is not accounting for any of this. This compensation plan creates inequities, which is valuing the work of one member of management over another within the same pay grade on the same team. Thank you for your time and listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkin. And I just want to remind you in those listenings for individuals who have concerns about the percentage of pay increase per your classification, please flag this for city staff or work with your union representative to request your classification be further reviewed.
So who is it specifically that I need to reach out to?
This would be your city staff human resources contact, so that they bring it to human resources so that they further review your classification.
Okay, and I do that via my chain of command, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, I can absolutely do that.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkin.
Thank you for your time.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm sorry. For all those, just a reminder to put yourself on mute if you're not speaking. Our next speaker is Rhett Crowninshield.
Honorable Mayor and Council, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I would like to thank you for hearing our concerns today, and thank you for doing the market survey. This is Rhett Crowninshield. I am the transit administrator for the City of Tucson, 818 pay grade, 2760 job code. I will keep my comments brief in order to accommodate everyone involved today. Functions as it relates to overseeing our transit system. The main issue I have is that the job description I was hired under is materially different than the job description that was used for the dispute form, both job descriptions to the dispute form, and I've also added research as it relates to my specific job description. There's only one other jurisdiction that was listed as being used in the market survey, and that was the City of Mesa. They have a transit services director that is nearly identical to my position. I am only asking that staff review the supporting documentation from my dispute form in determining a final say. And that's all I've got.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crowninshield. Really appreciate it. And again, I want to remind that for concerns with your percentage of increase because of your classification, please make sure that you speak to your appropriate human resources staff contact within your department and or your union representative, so that you request your classification be further reviewed.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christopher Blue.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, and staff. My name is Christopher Blue, and I'm a transit services coordinator in the Department of Transportation and Mobility. To begin, I'd like to thank city leadership and staff for their steadfast efforts to implement the employee compensation plan, especially during these turbulent times. It's a significant undertaking, and your commitment to the city's greatest resource, its people, is appreciated. I'm here today to discuss my cursory review of the market analysis for the Transit Services Coordinator classification, which has produced an issue of pressing concern. The current midpoint of my classification is $73,944. The analysis results indicate that my classification is 37.4% above market. With a negative 37.4% correction, the midpoint for my classification would be $46,289, a decrease of $27,655 from the current midpoint. Two cities used in the market comparison have roles and responsibilities similar to my own. Chandler's Transit Services Coordinator position has a midpoint of $74,534, which is 0.8% higher than Tucson. Mesa's Transit Coordinator position has a midpoint of $70,002, which is 5.3% lower than Tucson. The other comparator jurisdictions, Marana, Oro Valley, and Pima County, are not accurate comparators, as they either A, do not offer transit services, or B, do not offer equivalent levels of transit services. Ironically, a significant portion of their transit services are provided by the City of Tucson through intergovernmental agreements, which I helped develop. I've highlighted additional discrepancies between this classification and the comparative jurisdictions in my dispute form. I recognize that these adjustments are meant to reduce attrition and increase employee morale. I'm appreciative of the city's fair compensation and generous benefits that have provided security for my family and me as my household's primary income earner. Let me end by saying that I am relieved that this classification is under review, and I am confident the outcome will be fair and equitable. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Blue. I really appreciate your voice. And again, as I was mentioning before, if you have concerns over the percentage of increase in your classification, please flag this for your contact at Human Resources so that they can take it up to the Human Resources Department or speak to your union representative to request that your classification be further reviewed. Our next speaker is Todd Kessler. Mr. Kessler. Mr. Clerk, is Mr. Kessler with us? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
He may need to press start. He needs, there he is.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
Kessler.
Sorry for that. Thank you. So good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and Council. My name is Todd Kessler. I'm a transportation administrator with the Department of Transportation and Mobility, and I've worked for the city for over 18 years. I first want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll tell you it's not something I'm particularly comfortable nor fond of doing, but I felt I had to speak up or would suffer for wishing I had. The compensation plan and salary adjustment for the transportation administrator, my classification, has been identified as 1.3% below market. However, from my own research, it is actually in the neighborhood of 15% below market. I would like Mayor and Council to understand that in presenting a case of dispute, one is unable to critique the data used in the calculation as this information was not disclosed. As such, I performed my own research using online and publicly available job classifications, descriptions, and salary schedules from the same jurisdictions: Chandler, Mesa, Marana, Oro Valley, and Pima County. In doing so, the classification transportation administrator does not match in syntax any of the classifications within the other entities, so the best fit title and classification was identified. Essentially, each organization uses different lingo for equivalent classifications. As a prime example, in referencing Tucson's closest and most comparative jurisdiction, Pima County, the city's transportation administrator is compared to Pima County's Public Works Division manager. I will read the verbatim summary descriptions to demonstrate these are in-kind classifications. Tucson Transportation's administrator, quote, administers and manages the activities and personnel of a transportation division, end quote. Whereas Pima County's Public Works Division Manager, quote, manages and directs a major division or divisions within a public works department, end quote. It should be obvious that these classifications are comparatively equivalent and different in pay compensation by 18.7%, not the 1.3% being sold in the compensation plan. For purposes of time, I will state the other jurisdictions are provided as submitted to the City Clerk's office as Exhibit A with my dispute form for unbiased review. One should recognize the Transportation Administrator is a title that blankets nearly all the divisional leadership within the Transportation and Mobility Department. A syntactical title-to-title comparison fails to be equitable in the case of this classification and presumably others. I ask Mayor and Council directs further review and analysis be performed to properly compensate the Transportation Administrators as dedicated leaders and servants to the community. And before I thank you for the opportunity to speak, I would just like to, I appreciate the direction to speak to our HR representative in regards to the percentage, which is essentially what I'm bringing forward here. But I was directed that this was my avenue. So again, I appreciate you listening and the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. And yes, you are right that this is an avenue for you to be able to air your concerns and present your evidence for your position. But in order to be able to move it forward, there's additional steps that you can take. You can go directly to the Human Resources Department as well. I think I'm correct in saying that, Roger, right?
Yes, Your Honor. And all these disputes that have been filed by 5 p.m. today will be forwarded to the city manager, and the city manager with HR will review them and be in contact with the individuals.
Absolutely. Alrighty, our last speaker will be Jason Winsky.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello,
can.
Can you hear me? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, we can.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Jason Winsky, I'm at the police department. I'm a sergeant there, and I'm speaking today on behalf of the Tucson Police Officers Association. We certainly did not expect to be here today, but I am kind of glad for the opportunity to first start by saying that we have been so thankful for the process so far, working with city staff. I want to compliment especially city HR staff. They have been working extra hours, nights and weekends, around the clock, and their effort has been second to none. Much like the other speakers today, new to TPOA is the representation of community service officers. They are a very important part of our mission at the police department, and they are an expanding resource for our community. At the last several council meetings, there's been much discussion around recruiting and hiring and retaining more community service officers, and they are a part of the market study that was done. Again, much like the other speakers, we are in the middle of discussions with city staff and HR staff, and we are very close, I think, to having a solution that fairly compensates our community service officers and values the work that they do. We simply needed a little bit more time, and so we felt like the right thing to do was to speak today and to submit the documents that we did earlier today. We are very optimistic that a solution is in sight. And again, I am thankful almost that this happened so that TPOA could get on the record just again how thankful we are for the work that's been done by city staff and the collaborative process that has allowed all these issues to be brought forward. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Winsky. I'm really happy that the conversation has started with HR regarding the community service officers, and I'm happy to hear that there is resolution is close. So that was the list of the speakers that I had on my list, Mr. Clerk. I don't know if there are any further speakers or if there's anyone else wishing to speak.
We did have one other request, Your Honor, but it doesn't appear that he's on.
Do you have the name, Mr. Clerk, of the person that was wishing to speak?
Yes, Your Honor, it was Jesus Martinez.
Is Jesus Martinez available in this call?
We don't see him on, Your Honor.
I don't see him. Okay. Alrighty. I hate to close the hearing, but if we don't have the speaker here, I'm going to have to call this public hearing closed. Dispute forms may be submitted until 5 p.m. today by emailing our city clerk at tucsonaz.gov. All disputes will be referred to the city manager in the Human Resources Department for further action and review. So the public hearing is closed. Mr. Clerk, any additional step that we have to take in order to take the feedback and input from our employees?
No, Your Honor, we will submit the disputes to the city manager and HR, and they will proceed with their part of the process.
Alrighty, so this public hearing is adjourned. I appreciate your work, Mr. Clerk, in putting together the public hearing, and of course the presence of Human Resources Department in our Business Services Department, as well as the council offices that are here in attendance, and any department directors that have joined us. I thoroughly appreciate all of your work. Thank you to the employees that spoke today, and we're hoping that your concerns are resolved. With that, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and for those of you all that are mothers, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.